In this video, we will explore the meaning of 8 specific dreams that God uses as a direct and powerful means of communication with His chosen ones. Each of these biblical dreams, from warnings that protect us from wrong choices to promises that renew our hope, reveals how God desires to guide, strengthen, and even restore the deepest areas of our lives. The Bible shows that God manifests in the stillness of the night, touching hearts with messages that not only direct but also transform. As you watch, you will not only learn about the context and meanings of each dream, but also see how these signs may be present in your own life. If you seek answers, direction, or a sign of God's care, this video will help you recognize and understand these divine touches and find peace, security, and purpose in your journey. Get ready to discover how God may be speaking to you even while you sleep, and how opening your heart to hear Him can change your path. Warning dream. In moments of stillness, when the mind opens to the divine, God may bring alerts that awaken our hearts. The warning dream is one of those silent and urgent messages, calling us to correct our direction, restore our paths, and take care of our journey. Abimelech was sleeping, and the city rested under the weight of the night. The lights had gone out, and the world seemed to finally silence. But in the depths of sleep, where the spirit opens and time slows down, God found space to reveal Himself. That night a vision formed clearly and intensely in his mind, and the truth about Sarah, the woman he had welcomed, presented itself unmistakably. She was not just a simple woman in his palace. She was the wife of Abraham, guarded by a divine purpose that required care and respect. God's warning came in a dream, with firm and direct words, like a blade of light cutting through the darkness. Return her, for the life you touch is sacred. Waking abruptly, Abimelech felt the weight of what he had received. It was more than a vision or a mystical experience. It was the hand of God guiding him to avoid a mistake that, until that moment, had remained hidden from his eyes. Driven by the impulse of obedience, the king walked silently, reflecting on what he had just experienced. He understood that this dream was not a cold judgment. There was zeal, a care that transcended differences and titles. The God of Abraham was not bringing him humiliation or condemnation. He welcomed him as a son, allowing him to see beyond wrong choices and redirecting him to a path of peace and integrity. At dawn, Abimelech made his decision. He understood that what had been shown to him could not be ignored. Returning Sarah to Abraham was more than a gesture of respect. It was a response to the call he had received from a vigilant God, zealous for His promises and attentive to those He chooses to protect. If this video is touching your heart and bringing new perspectives on how God communicates, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more content that strengthens your faith. Also share it with friends and family so that others can learn about divine dreams and recognize God's action in their lives. And stay until the end, as we will have a special prayer for you to connect even more with God's purpose and be guided by Him. Revelation Dream. Joseph, still young, woke from a dream that left his heart agitated and his eyes shining. It was more than an image. It was as if a veil had been removed, allowing him to see an unknown part of himself. In the dream, sheaves of wheat bowed before him. His brothers bowed down, and everything seemed infused with a greatness he could not yet comprehend. It carried a promise, a silent calling echoing in his chest, awakening a faith that, at that point, seemed impossible. It was the voice of God without words, showing him that destiny held something grand and inevitable, which he did not yet know what it was. At first, Joseph felt an excitement that overflowed in his heart. In youth, it is easy to be drawn to the shine of the future, to the sense of a still hidden purpose. But when he shared the dream with his brothers, what he found was not enthusiasm, but resentment. To them, the dream sounded arrogant, like an offense to what they knew and believed. They did not see there a sign from God. They saw only the pretension of a young man, ignoring what moved them. However, even in the face of cold reactions and scornful laughter, Joseph kept the vision in his heart, like a silent lighthouse that would accompany him throughout his journey. Time showed the truth of that dream. Through twists and betrayals, the promise that Joseph received in the dream never faded. It was like a seed planted within him that would grow over time, crossing pains, injustices, and prisons. In the simplicity of the dream, God had told him something that even adversity could not erase. Destiny held a place of honor for him, and he should be faithful to that calling, even when everything seemed lost. Direction Dream. Joseph, a carpenter in Nazareth, was a simple man known for his serenity and faith. Amid the daily grind, he faced a situation that would shake even the calmest of hearts. Mary, his betrothed, was pregnant, and he knew the child was not his. The weight of doubts filled his soul. Deciding what to do without hurting Mary's honor seemed impossible. Deep down in his silence, Joseph had already decided on a quiet separation, a choice between the love and respect he had for her. But God, who sees beyond human plans and acts in the space of uncertainty, touched Joseph's life that night. In a dream, an angel appeared to him with the clarity of one who brings a divine and unmistakable message. "Joseph, son of David, do not fear to take Mary as your wife," said the messenger, with a voice that sounded like relief. "What is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit." The words were direct, and the angel spoke so firmly that Joseph knew, without a doubt, that this was a celestial instruction. Hearing about the greater purpose of that child, the Savior who would bring light to the world, the weight he carried in his heart dissipated like mist before the sun. Joseph awoke transformed, with the certainty of a new path, one he had not planned, but that God had revealed to him. He knew that taking Mary was also opening his heart and life to God's very calling, to the role he would play in divine history. The decision that had once seemed impossible was now as clear as water, and he would embrace that calling with the same strength that guided his carpentry work. Firm hands and a heart open to whatever came. Just as the tools he shaped with his hands, Joseph accepted being shaped by God's will. That dream was not just a comfort amid doubt. It was a direction to something greater than he could comprehend. Joseph did not hesitate. He rose, took Mary as his wife, and became the guardian of the Son of God, the one who would bring salvation to the world. Warning Dream. The wise men from the east were seekers of signs, men who, guided by faith and knowledge of the stars, traveled long distances to find the king who was born under a special star. After a long journey, and finally finding the boy Jesus, they presented him with gold, frankincense, and myrrh, offering not only the treasures of the earth, but also the reverence of their hearts. They were ready to return, but that night, in the silence that precedes dawn, a dream stopped them. A vision emerged with the clarity that only divine intervention could bring. Do not return to Herod. The message was direct, a warning for them to follow another way. God, who watches over his own, was guiding them along a safe route, a path where the intentions of the crafty king could not reach them. That simple and precise guidance was an invisible shield protecting them from falling into the trap prepared. When they awoke, the wise men knew that the dream was not a detail to be ignored. It was God himself caring for the details of their journey, protecting not only the travelers, but also the boy Jesus. They obeyed promptly, without hesitation, taking another road, a longer path that carried with it the promise of protection and safety. In the quiet of obedience, the hearts of the wise men found peace. There was no need to question why the message. They simply understood that following it was the only possible step. That dream taught them something profound about faith. Sometimes God acts subtly, but so precisely, that there is no room for doubt. The silent warning was, in fact, a call to open themselves to divine care, to a loving vigilance that would lead them safely back to their lands. Commissioning dream. It was night in Gibeon, and young Solomon rested after another day of challenges and responsibilities. As king, he carried the weight of a people and a history that preceded him on his shoulders. In the stillness of sleep, where daytime thoughts dissipate, God appeared to him in a dream, a silent yet intense presence, and a question resonated in his mind. Ask what you wish me to give you. Solomon, in his youth, did not ask for riches or triumph over enemies. He asked for something rare and profound, wisdom. The desire of his heart was to serve the people with discernment and justice, a longing that reflected not his strength, but his humility. The divine response was immediate and generous. God not only granted him unmatched wisdom, but also riches and honor, gifts that far exceeded what he dared to ask. This dream was not merely a concession. It was the moment when Solomon received a divine commissioning, a calling that would shape him as the wisest king Israel had ever known. Upon awakening, Solomon was not the same. He carried with him a sacred mission and a power given by God himself to be used with care and reverence. The wisdom granted in the dream transformed his vision, helping him to see clearly the needs of his people and to act justly. Thus, the young king learned that with the calling comes the responsibility to be a channel of divine goodness and discernment. Encouragement dream. Jacob, exhausted from his flight and burdened with uncertainties, found a stone for a pillow and lay down under an endless sky. He was alone, surrounded by the emptiness of the night and the weight of a tumultuous past. With his head on the ground and his heart anxious, he fell asleep, and in the silence of sleep, a dream blossomed like a divine comfort. Jacob saw a ladder that reached from earth to heaven, and angels ascended and descended on it, as if carrying messages between the human and the divine. In that dream, God drew near, as if the distance between high and low ceased to exist. Jacob saw the Lord himself at the top of the ladder, who, with a firm and loving voice, renewed the promise made to Abraham and Isaac. I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham, and the God of Isaac. This land on which you lie, I will give to you and your descendants. I will be with you, and will keep you wherever you go. The words resonated in his spirit, not only as promises, but as an anchor that would tie him to the greater purpose of his life. Jacob awoke with a peaceful heart. Until then, he had known he was heir to his family's promises, but he had never before felt such closeness to God. Never had divine purpose seemed so real and personal. The dream brought him the certainty that even in unfamiliar lands and amid challenges, he would never be alone. God would walk with him, sustaining each step until the promise was fulfilled. The ladder Jacob saw became, from that day on, a living image of the connection between the divine and the human, between God's love and the journey of his people. In that desert, where he felt just another fugitive, Jacob received the comfort of knowing that the Eternal was watching over him and guiding him. He named that place Bethel, House of God, and made a vow of faithfulness, committing to live under the presence of the one who had promised to be by his side. Healing and restoration dream. Nebuchadnezzar, the mighty king of Babylon, was troubled by a dream that left him uneasy. He, who was used to visions of glory and power, saw something quite different in the solitude of his sleep. In his dream, a huge tree stood at the center of the earth, its branches reaching to the sky, giving shelter to the animals and food to the peoples. But suddenly a heavenly voice echoed, commanding that the tree be cut down, its branches cut off, its leaves stripped, and its fruit scattered. Only the trunk and roots should remain, bound with iron and bronze chains. The dream disturbed the king, bringing him an anguish he could not explain. The interpretation given by the prophet Daniel came as a silent and inevitable blow. Nebuchadnezzar was that tree, and the vision of his fall represented the lesson of humility he would have to learn. His pride had distanced him from the greater truth, and God, in his mercy, decided to teach him the value of humility. For a time the king would lose his throne and live like an animal, until he acknowledged God's sovereignty over all things. And so it came to pass. Nebuchadnezzar was stripped of his power and fell into a state of desolation. His mind wandered from reason, and he began to roam like the fallen tree abandoned to the elements. But even there, in his fall, the dream revealed something more. The trunk of the tree was left intact, with deep and still living roots. The promise of restoration remained, and God, who corrected him firmly, was also waiting for him with mercy. At the end of the period of humiliation, Nebuchadnezzar lifted his eyes to the heavens, and in that gesture of recognition he was restored. His mind cleared, his glory returned, and the pride that had consumed him was replaced with gratitude and praise. The God who had brought him low was the same one who now lifted him back to his place. The dream, with its severity, revealed the love that corrects and the forgiveness that renews. Promise dream. Jacob had been in Laban's house for years, working hard for the flocks and the safety of his family. The desire to return to his homeland grew, but the fear of Laban and the uncertainty of the future kept him there, trapped in the everyday and the disputes. One night, while sleeping under the vast sky of foreign lands, a dream came like a breeze of hope. In the vision, an angel spoke to him about the divine care that accompanied him and the promise of prosperity that awaited him on his journey back. In that dream, God presented himself not as a distant force, but as the guardian, watching over him in every detail, in every negotiation, and in every uncertain step. The image Jacob saw was of flocks multiplying before his eyes, a sign that God's blessing was upon his work, and that he would reward his patience and perseverance. The promise was clear. The time to depart had come, and divine protection was guaranteed for him and his family. Upon awakening, Jacob felt the peace and confidence of one who receives a direct word from God. He knew he was not alone, and that the one who had appeared to him years before in Bethel remained faithful and present. Jacob understood that the dream not only confirmed the promise, but was also a call to trust in divine direction, to dare to face what awaited him beyond the horizon. Every step toward his homeland was now guided by the certainty that God would fulfill what he had promised. Jacob left with his family and all he owned, certain that the promise given was not something distant, but a reality that would unfold in his journey. The dream became the foundation of his courage, a reminder that God is faithful and fulfills every word. On the way back home, he carried not only goods and flocks, he carried the mark of trust in a God who would not abandon him. As you reflect on this dream, I invite you to contemplate how God has been speaking to your heart. Is he sending warning signs to protect you from choices that may harm you? Or perhaps revealing promises and directions that he desires you to follow in faith? In every dream, God shows that he is near, that he cares, and that his hand guides with love and purpose. May this reflection touch your soul and inspire you to seek and hear God's voice. Open your heart now with a prayer and let him reveal his will for you. Lord, I thank you for being a God who corrects us with love and guides us with care. In your goodness, you see what I cannot see, protecting me from hidden dangers and paths that would lead me away from your purpose. May my heart always be attentive to your warnings, recognizing them as gestures of care and compassion. I want to hear your voice, even in the whispers of the night, and respond with humility to your guidance. Father, help me to embrace your correction without resistance, remembering that it comes from a God who loves me and desires to see me safe in your plans. May I never ignore the alerts you send me, and may my spirit be strengthened and my faith renewed in every warning. I know that you are by my side, guarding me and guiding me in every step. May I always be willing to adjust my course and return to the center of your will. Lord, I thank you for all the glimpses you give me of the future and of your plans for me. Even when I do not understand the path or the why of your promises, I trust that you are preparing something beyond my sight. Give me the faith of Joseph, who kept the dream in his heart even in the face of difficulties, and help me guard your revelations like seeds of hope, patiently waiting for your perfect timing. May I never lose sight of the purpose you have placed in my life, and may my trust in you sustain me in every challenge. Lord, may the promises you reveal to me be anchors of hope, reminding me that I am part of your eternal plan. May my spirit be renewed with the certainty that even when everything seems difficult, you are fulfilling what you prepared for me from the beginning. Beloved Father, just as you guided Joseph to follow a new path, guide me in my decisions so that I may walk in the direction you have prepared. When I face difficult choices and lack answers, may your voice lead me with clarity and peace. May I, amid doubts, have the confidence to listen to and follow. Your counsel, just as Joseph did, trusting that each step toward your plan brings me closer to your will. Lord, may I live with a heart sensitive to your guidance and a willingness to obey, even when the road is uncertain. Just as you spoke to Joseph, speak to me, revealing the path that will bring me closer to you. Your direction is light for my life and safety for my soul. May I never fear to follow you, and may my faith in your guidance always be greater than any fear. Lord, I thank you for being my refuge, my guide on hidden paths, and my protector in moments of danger. When the wise men received your warning to divert from Herod, they obeyed, trusting in your wisdom. May I also have that confidence, accepting the alerts you give me and choosing your ways, even if they are not the easiest. Keep me, Lord, and help me hear your voice in all circumstances. Father, may your protection be the shield that covers me, and may I never underestimate your signs and warnings. When you walk with me and show me the way out, give me the courage and obedience to follow you faithfully. I trust that you know what is best for me, and that by accepting your direction, I am safe. Your presence is my safety and my refuge, Lord. Help me always walk under your protection. Almighty God, just as Solomon, I come before you and ask that you grant me wisdom to serve and act according to your will. May my heart never be filled with vanity, but may I always remember that all gifts come from you and must be used for your glory. Grant me humility and discernment to fulfill the purpose you have traced for me, honoring you with every action and decision. Lord, commission me for your service, strengthening me so that I can face each challenge with faith and integrity. May I never lose sight of the commitment I have with you, and may the wisdom you grant me be a reflection of your presence in my life. May I live with a heart willing to serve and honor you, remembering that my life is an instrument in your hands. Lord, I am grateful for your constant presence and the encouragement you offer me at every step of my journey. Just as you revealed yourself to Jacob with a ladder between heaven and earth, showing that you are always near, help me feel this connection with you, knowing that I am never alone. In moments of fear and uncertainty, may I find comfort in your closeness and strength in your sustaining love. Beloved Father, may this certainty of your presence live in my heart, making every moment of my life dedicated to you. May I never forget that you watch over me and walk beside me, no matter the desert or the road I find myself on. My refuge and my security are in you. Help me to remember, always, that my true home is your heart. Merciful God, I thank you for being a God who restores and heals, who never withdraws, even when we fall into our pride. Just as you did with Nebuchadnezzar, allow me to learn humility and grace in every correction you offer me. Show me, Lord, the areas of my life that need renewal, so that I can be a tree that grows in your presence and stands firm in your love. Lord, heal my heart and my mind, restore every part of me that has been lost, and help me recognize that all I am and have comes from you. May I live in true communion with you, not allowing myself to be deceived by pride or arrogance. In your grace, restore my life and firm my steps, so that I may live with a spirit of gratitude and surrender to your purpose. Eternal Father, thank you for being a God of promises, who accompanies and cares for his own every step of the way. Just as you did with Jacob, may I also see your faithfulness in my life and rest in the promises you made to me. Even when the journey is uncertain, help me trust that you are by my side and that you will fulfill every word you have spoken over my life. Lord, strengthen my faith so that I do not waver in the face of challenges and that I walk secure in your love and protection. May I remember, with every step, that I am under your care, guided by your hand. May your promises be the light that illuminates my path, and may I find peace in knowing that my life is in your hands, and that you are faithful to fulfill